I believe in deciding something before all the pieces are in place. I had somebody that I knew that would tell me, I really want a house. I really want a house. And I would say, you can want your house basically all the way to the grave. How about you just decide that you're going to buy a house? Neurologically, when we make a decision and we set an intention with that decision, our brain is a goal-driven machine that will follow whatever we tell it. So I have decided to buy a house. I have decided to meet the love of my life. I have decided to go to Europe. And even if you make decisions on things that are very far off, that could seem impossible, they're nowhere near you today. But once you make the decision about it, your brain starts doing the work. It notices little nuances in different rooms. Now I'd like you, instead of saying, I want to buy a house, how about you start saying, I'm buying a house? A declarative statement, not a wishy-washy begging statement. I've decided to buy a house. Oh, I'm buying a house. I'm excited. I'm going to buy a house. And guess what happened to that guy? He bought a house. Hey, guys, it is Alison. I am the host of your show, Alison Answers Mission Awake. I cannot wait to sit down with you today and go over how we are going to crush the mediocrity in your life that has been plaguing our society since the beginning of time. I cannot wait to have a real deal conversation that includes intelligence, fun, excitement, and real actionable steps to make a real difference in the life that you're living now and making it into something you can be damn proud of and excited to live. Sit down, put on your damn seatbelt, and get ready for the ride of your life. Hey guys, how are you today? It is Alison from Alison Answers and Logger Counseling Services. I am going to talk to you today about goals, dreams, visions, but please hear me on this. It is super important. I need you guys to like, subscribe, send any of my videos to people, only to people who you know whose lives will change, whose lives will get better because of the content. I don't want my content just thrown out there just to get likes or subscribers. What I really, really want is the work that I'm doing here. I don't monetize the podcast. All I ask from you guys, if it is of any help to you, is that you would share it with people who would also be helpful too, not just people who are going to give me numbers, because that's not what I care about. So basically, what it helps me to do is to get better guests. It helps me to do better things on YouTube. I am really all over on every podcast platform, and I would really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for everyone else who really already does support me. So I'm going to talk to you about a really it's a concept that we hear everywhere in personal development, but I want you to drive into this thought. So we can have a goal. Let's say it's like, I want to lose weight. I want to go to the gym, whatever. I want to go to the gym regularly. Then you wake up late and you do not, this has happened to me. So you wake up late and then you don't have enough time to go to the gym. I want to throw something out to you. And I try to teach my kids this, and anyone who will listen to me, is that sometimes our primary goal is not the actual goal that we actually meet in an attempt to meet our primary goal. So if your primary goal, let's just say, is for that day, is to get to the gym. Now you wake up late and you're not going to make the gym. You still have to get to work. What I would suggest to you, and this is what I do, is I look for the other goal in it. So what is the value of going to the gym? Yes, to work out. Yes, to have a great body, to be fit, all of that. But the value of going to the gym is to develop the habit of attending the gym, to develop the habit of being in a new place and a new environment and making it just like part of your system, that it just becomes habitual, that it's like you brush your teeth. So to me, what I have been doing, because I left one way of working out because I had an injury, so I needed to go to my other gym and do other things. So I wasn't used to going to that gym. So my goal was to continue to work out in spite of the injury, but to protect and take care of myself in the meantime. But that was the goal. But then I was finding myself not getting there. And so I was like, wait a minute. All I have to do, whether I don't have enough time, all I have to do is drive there, put on my workout, you make sure I have my workout clothes, make sure I have everything I need for the gym to get ready and go to work, and go there. Even if I work out for 10 minutes, I have achieved a different goal. And the different goal that I achieve is a habitual behavior that I'm dedicated to. It's discipline. It doesn't matter what the factors are around it. Even if I can walk in that gym for 1 minute, I sign in, I walk in, I smile at myself in the mirror and get dressed for work, and I don't do the workout. I'm not encouraging you not to do the workout. What I'm telling you is that then the next time it's easier and easier. And if you can think about, and I'm sure you can, of areas in your life, like I was discussing with my daughter about different options and choices and what to do with her future. And I was saying, any of your choices are fine. Any of them. Let's rule out the ones that you definitely don't want. But any of those choices will be fine, because even if you go and do this thing and you hate it and you have the experience of it, but you live through hating it, you develop a mental toughness to, you know what, things don't always work out, but what did I gain from this? Maybe the goal was to have one experience. So let's say we're talking to one of our kids, and this doesn't exactly apply to me, but let's say you're talking to one of your kids about a college experience. So let's say they're like, oh, I want the college experience. Do we even know what the college experience is? We all have an idea. It would be really good to operationally define what a college experience is. But think about it. So now you send one of your kids to college, or you go to college, and your experience is not a good one. You're stuffed in a dorm. You don't like your roommate. Like, this happened to my son. Like, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm failing, or I love it, but it's not what I thought, or I don't like the weather. Who the hell knows? But you had a college experience. So now you have the understanding. What did you gain from going that semester and coming home? You gained an understanding that changed your previous understanding of what a college experience is. So if you end up going for something and expecting it to be great, you also learn what it is. You also learn what it isn't if it's not a good experience. Then you can also say, I'm going to take this experience, I'm going to utilize it to make myself a better person, no matter what the experience is. So I really believe that difficult times or things that don't turn out the way we want are opportunities to develop a sense of toughness, a sense of, and when I say toughness, I don't mean harsh, I don't mean closed, I mean open. I mean accepting. I mean, like, okay, this doesn't have the power over me to destroy my month, my year, or wow, it didn't work out for me. All my expectations have crumbled. No, the whole point is that you did the thing. I will never forget what my stepmom said about my daughter's dance recitals. I was like, "Oh, Nona, you don't have to go. I know how much you hate the dance recitals." And she's like, "How dare you?" She's like, "I love hating the dance recitals." And I'm like, "Okay, have at it. Let's go." But the point is that having the experience of not liking something can be something that's good for us. It also helps us to rule out things we don't want in our lives. Sometimes we don't try things because we think we don't know what to expect. We're not actually afraid. We're just new at it. We don't know how to do things. So we're so afraid of being a novice. I think if you can hone in on and change your mindset and say, I choose to be a novice, because if I'm always a novice, I am always growing. I cannot lose as a novice. So like, oh, I want to try this. So I always try. I have a lifestyle where I try to do something unique and different every week. So it could be the hokiest, dumbest thing. It could be like, I'm going to go somewhere alone and listen to a band, which is like not really, I love to listen to live music, but I'm not really the type to like go out to a bar or anything by myself. But I'm like, I'm just going to do it because I want to tackle anything that blocks me from great things. And inevitably, so I just recently had a great time because I saw friends that I knew and it ended up being great. But let's say I went and it was like really bad time. It doesn't matter. that it was a bad time. What matters is that I did it. So anything you can overcome and say, I'm interested in this thing. I'm interested in learning this thing. And you go and you learn it and you're like, I don't really want to learn this. But you learned that you don't want to learn it. And I think there's so much value when we're trying to make a decision. If we're just a deer in headlights and we say, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in that direction. And I don't know what's going to happen in that direction. But I know if I stay here, I know what basically, which you really don't, but I think I know what's going to happen here. So I'm going to stay here. And if you really think about that, what you're doing is you're just not making the decision because you don't know the outcome. And you need the outcome to be promised to you in order to make a move. And life just doesn't work that way. We don't know the outcomes of things we haven't done. And if we want to squeeze every little bit out of life and really enjoy our lives and try new things, be okay with things sucking. Be okay with things being like, ooh, that was hard, but I do it again. It's not as hard. And you can also, you go to the gym and you run into someone who's snotty. Does that mean every gym experience is bad? No, you go back again. And the whole point is that do we want to grow? Do we want to learn? We get very stuck in what we expect outcomes to be because we have goals, we have dreams. And that didn't work out. No, actually it did. Either it helped you rule out stuff that you didn't, that you weren't sure about, you never knew what it would be like, or you toughed something out that was really hard and embarrassing and difficult, and that made you a better person if you had the right attitude, or you had a great experience that you wouldn't have had, and maybe it isn't even what you expected. That's the thing. If we're willing to say, I want to try that, I want to do this thing, this is the goal I'm hoping to achieve, but any goal, any outcome that I get, I'm going to use the shit out of that outcome. So that's what I believe. If you say to life, whatever happens, I'm going to utilize you to make something good out of it, because that mindset will make your life amazing, because nothing has power over you then. Hard times, you say, okay, I got you. This is really hard. Let me grab hold of this sucker. And I'm forcing this thing to be a good thing in my life somehow, right? And it works. I promise you it works. Hey, guys, how are you? I want to just give a shameless plug of my book. I would really want people to have a good look at my book and to understand what it really is. I used to be ashamed to plug my book. And then I realized, how is that right? To keep the information, the 30 years of experience that I have, the 8 years of education, the trauma that I grew out of and learned how to manage and how to manage emotion, all the training I've had in neuroscience and quantum physics. How can I keep that from the public? So it's not, I used to think it was like something I should, be humble about, but being humble is silly when you're keeping things away from people that they need. So what I want to tell you about my book, and I hope that you do get it, because I think it will really help you. I've gotten a lot of tremendous feedback about my book, and that it's really, really of great value to a lot of people. And what it is, it's an interactive read, and there's inside of it, there's journal entries. So as I'm teaching and going through the book and teaching you how to create the life you want by understanding how you're wired, how your thoughts, feelings, how your words, how thoughts are things, and the neuroscience behind it, and how we are programmed from the time we're 0 to 7 years old to live a life of mediocrity or a life of poor design because of meaning that we attached to events when we were children that just became our programming. What I want to tell you is that there is a way out, and it's a simple way. It's very simple. I believe in the simplicity and the grace in healing, and that it doesn't have to be a big work. So I would love it if you'd get my book. It's a best-selling book on Amazon, and it's my first, and I encourage you to get it. It's called The Wake Up Call, an interactive read for building the life you want. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Thanks so much for being on the show, and let's get back to it. The other thing I want to say, just neurologically, here's my neuroscience geek out thing, is that this. A decision is a power move neurologically. Because if you see people who are wavering between 2, 3 decisions, they are in a state of stress. What's happening is one set of neurons, there's like groups of these neurons. One set, a grouping is firing for this decision. One is firing for this. And then what happens is that when this one's firing, the other one is inhibited. When this one's firing, this one is inhibited. And what ends up happening, it's kind of like a battle, like Star Wars. Not really, but it is similar. And what happens is once you make a decision, whatever it is, all that firing is done. So there's not this firing and inhibition and firing and inhibition. And I like to think of it as like your mind is inflamed. It's not physically really inflamed, but your mind is inflamed and then it's not. So a decision made brings peace. It's also, if you marry the decision in the way that I'm describing, I'm going to take this decision, I'm going to make it the best. And we can talk about micro things. I'm not talking about huge, big life decisions like, getting married, whatever. I'm talking about like these decisions of what I'm going to do today, or even if I'm going to spend 3 months abroad. Like, okay, these are the outcomes I wanted when I'm going, to study somewhere in another country. But now you get handed a whole bunch of other things, discomfort or rude people or great times, bad times, whatever it is, or I learned nothing, but it's an experience. It's taking something, but you decided to do it. And the thing you learned from it is that you did a thing without knowing the outcome. So we can take anything that we decide and say, I did that thing without ever knowing the future. And I did that thing without being afraid. And I did that thing in order to bring myself peace and certainty. And also, many of the decisions we make, they don't decide the outcome. We decide, we say, I'm going to take now this decision that seems to be maybe the second best decision, and I'm going to make it the best decision because I'm going to marry it and I'm going to create greatness out of what I just did. And we all have the opportunity to do that. But I want to say, think about it. Neurologically, when we make a decision and we set an intention with that decision, our brain is a goal-driven machine that will follow whatever we tell it. So I have decided to buy a house. I have decided to meet the love of my life. I have decided to go to Europe. I have decided whatever. I have decided, and even if you make decisions on things that are very far off, that could seem impossible, they're nowhere near you today. But once you make the decision about it, your brain starts doing the work. It notices little nuances in different rooms. It kind of orders your steps and says, and you just notice something about, let's say, Italy, or you notice something about someone in a room that you wouldn't have noticed before, or you answer a phone call that you wouldn't have answered. Little things. I love doing this because I set intentions. And so, like, let's say I feel upset about something, whatever. I gained 5 pounds, or I don't like the way I've been acting in this way, or I want to change this part about me. What I do is I kind of take that thing. I feel the feeling about it. But then what I do is then I say, okay, what can I do? So here's like, this is bothering me. So what could I decide that would make it better? So now I've decided, I'm going to use that same gym example. I'm going to go to this particular gym every day. So now making the decision is not based on knowing that you'll be able to do it, but making the decision creates a pathway for you to do it. So I believe in deciding something before all the pieces are in place. So I had somebody that I knew that would tell me all the time, I really want a house. I really want a house. And I would say, well, you can want your house basically all the way to the grave, because they would also say, I can't afford it and blah, 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 and all this reason and that reason. There's no reasons. And so I said, how about you just decide that you're going to buy a house? And they're like, well, I can't. I'm like, well, just decide you are. I mean, why not have at it? Just you're saying all this other stuff in your mind. Why not say this thing? So, okay. So I would say, now I'd like you, instead of saying, I want to buy a house, how about you start saying, I'm buying a house? A declarative statement, not a wishy-washy begging statement. I've decided to buy a house. Oh, I'm buying a house. I'm excited. I'm going to buy a house. Now, does that mean you're lying? No, it means that you're going to buy a house. It means I am buying a house. I've decided to do that. Now, what starts to happen, and guess what happened to that guy? He bought a house. Every time he would leave where we were and he would see the same person, every time he would see this woman, a stranger, he would say, hey, I'm buying a house. And she would be like, congratulations. So he started saying it. And then before you knew it, it was within a year, this dude bought a house. So please decide what you want. It's not being unrealistic. It's being purposeful. It's being decisive. It's being deliberate. It's then when these nuances show up that you see, like an opportunity to, like, some house pops up that would be a dream house or something. You look at it. You just go look at it, and you let it go. You're not in this frantic, like, I gotta buy a house. No, I'm buying a house. Confidence, peace, an intentional decision made, understanding that outcomes are not in my hands. What I love is that, I'm responsible for the effort, not the outcome. The outcome is in God's hands. So then we have, and we learn to trust ourselves. If I can trust myself to handle a bad decision, if I can trust myself to handle not making a goal, if I can trust myself to make decisions that are scary and know that I'll be there for myself, if I can trust myself and then trust that I have a higher power that has my back, how can I lose? And that's what I hope for you. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. And don't forget to subscribe and like and comment. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you want me to talk about. I want to do a relationship series about, if you're in a relationship, the pitfalls, the difficulties, and how to overcome them. I want to talk about finding your soulmate and any of the blocks to that. I want to talk about relationship patterns that people keep finding themselves up in the same situation over and over again, and they want to give up. So any comments would help me so much to be able to help you better. And any likes, subscribes, follow me on Instagram, Alison Answers, also Lager Counseling, Lager like the beer, also TikTok and Facebook. It would mean so much to me and be so helpful for me if you could join me, follow me on Alison Answers on Facebook, Lager Counseling on Facebook, and then my Facebook is Alison Lager, LCSW. I think it says CASAC too on that. And it's Alison with one L. See behind me? Alison Answers. Follow me. I promise I won't lead you astray. Have a beautiful day. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. I just want to say to you that we are all together a part of the Mission Awake, a mission that's going to stop the mediocrity that's plaguing all of us. So if you got something here today, I ask that you would be a part of this mission and you'd share it with whoever you can. Take a screenshot of the show and share it on your Instagram. If you are looking for me, you can find me on social media platform Instagram, Alison Answers, or Lager Counseling Services. And give us a review and subscribe if you could to YouTube, Alison Answers. That's where you're going to get a lot of content. I drop stuff every day, goofy stuff, all different kinds of stuff. 5-minute videos that just get you moving in your day. Have a great week. See you next time.